Reddit by Reddit recap. What highly illegal thing took place at your high school? The cool gang of kids, not me, I've never been anywhere near cool, got into a dare contest which ended up with one of them having to get a pair of knickers from a particular girl. She didn't want to play the game, so he ended up cornering her in a boys' toilet and cutting them off her with a knife. We never saw him at the school again. All games were banned. One of the old teacher's aides got arrested for child porn and filming the elementary kids' bathroom. Elementary kids. Some people are so messed up, man. I know, right? And when you've interacted with the person, it's just absolutely chilling. A teacher and an administrator embezzled millions. I didn't even know all this happened until years after graduation. Some of my friends had the teacher in question. There were 4 freshmen in the bathroom stall just vaping, and a teacher came in, so they freaked out and didn't want to get in trouble, so they thought calling the cops on the teacher for harassment would get them out of trouble. They got expelled an hour after the cops arrived. Let's see, where should I start? Freshman year, 2 rapes in bathrooms, 1 fatal stabbing. Sophomore year, shooting in the courtyard. Half pound of coke found in student's locker. Junior year, drama teacher, F. Caught sleeping with 3 students. Senior year, gym teacher, driver's ed teacher, M. Impregnates freshman girl. Then it is discovered he has not had a valid driver's license for 6 years, invalidating the driver's ed class for everyone that took it during that time period. Jesus Christ, just shut down the F school. Had a pretty controversial case involving a handicapped student who had cerebral palsy and muscular dystrophy. His parents filed a lawsuit accusing 2 of his handlers of abusing him by dumping him out of his chair and forcing him to wear a neck brace so he'd look them in the eye. Worst part was, I don't think the handlers suffered any consequences. I looked up articles on it and all of them highlight the abuse and lawsuit, but none follow through with the results, which is frustrating. Little bit of backstory first. Our school had a big renovation ongoing, and because of that, almost half of the school was closed down. The closed part included the biggest bathrooms, and because of that, the school administration ordered 2 toilet barracks to be placed on the schoolyard. So 7 9th graders decided to buy some toilet pipe opener liquid, I don't know what is the correct term, and aluminium foil. They put the aluminium foil inside some plastic bottles and poured a little pipe opener in them with the foil. As someone has probably done this before, knows what is going to happen next. They stuck 6 bottles total inside the toilet bowls in every stall of 1 barrack and blew them up due to the chemical reaction between the foil and the opener. All the pipings of the single barrack were destroyed due to water pressure inside the pipes. Turns out that the 2 barracks had connected pipings, and the water that was in the bowls in the other barrack shot up to the ceiling due to pressure. The students never got caught, and if I remember correctly, the incident ended up costing a hefty amount for the school administration. The barracks were taken away and were replaced with new ones. After the incident, every recess there was a teacher in front on the barracks monitoring everyone going in and out. Nothing happened to the new toilets. We had a science teacher say, if you don't put goggles on, I'm going to have to spray you in the eyes with Lysol, which was probably not illegal until the student tried to call her bluff. She wasn't bluffing, and that's how the legend was born. Carol. She didn't wear her safety goggles. Now she doesn't need them. High school coach didn't keep tabs on our team during a week-long beach trip to play games in Florida. Parents supplied kids with alcohol. One of my teammates snaps his neck diving into the ocean. Coach fired. Kid paralyzed. Literal chaos within our baseball program ensued. It was awful. I transferred. My teacher was molesting my 14-year-old classmate for a while. He went to jail and is still there 20 years later because another past victim came forward. So that's pretty illegal. Our football coach took off with one of the girls in the high school and moved to Mexico and married her. He had a wife and kids. They then hired a brand new football coach who was 23 years old. Before the end of his first year, he was hooking up with an 18-year-old senior girl. They also took off and went somewhere. We went without a coach for a couple years. I had a male teacher in high school who had a lot of chemistry with this one girl in my class. They never did anything inappropriate, but like they had great banter and got along great. We'd all joke that she had a crush on him and that they were going to get together. We even joked that they were already secretly hooking up, but we didn't really think they were. They were married 5 years later and have 2 kids and couldn't be happier. It made all of us wonder if something was going down while she was in high school. They both swear nothing happened until she randomly bumped into him at the supermarket when she was visiting home for the holidays. Parents were outraged when they found out. The school couldn't fire him because there was no proof. Eventually they got tired of the awkward stares and moved away. They've been married like 8 years now and from what I can see in social media are still going strong. Spanish teacher got arrested for illegally bringing over a 14-year-old Argentinian girl and keeping her as her ex-toy. But since she was here illegally and wouldn't testify against him, she was deported and he came back to school later in the year. Come to find out a couple of years later he had molested like half of the girls' volleyball team he was the coach of. Grew up in a small town. When a lamb got sick and was dying, our ag teacher just had us go out behind the classroom building and shoot it. We ended up pulling a massive tapeworm out of it. Definitely not legal to have guns on campus, let alone use them. This was middle school, but our computer teacher was fired after they caught him watching PRN in the computer lab during lunch. Rumor has it, he was watching on the big projector screen they use for teaching. My gym teacher, originally a health ed teacher, got caught twice doing that and checking it. All they did was turn him into the gym teacher, then made him back into the health teacher. A special ed kid got jumped by a dude on his way to school and was beaten bloody. The whole thing was recorded by the guy's girlfriend and her friend. The whole time they were cheering him on, yelling things like world star and so on. She later posted it on Instagram, which pissed off everyone and just about everyone wanted to beat the dude up in the vid. He was given temporary suspension. Fucking BS. While the police took care of him. From what I know, he was given an assault charge. Also, side note, there was a girl at my school who was in minor league boxing who was ready to beat him up. She even tried looking for him by his house. Edit. For those of you arguing if the boxer would have won the fight, can confirm. She was a hell of a lot bigger than the guy. In comparison, he was a pretty skinny dude. 2 kids had X in the toilets a few years ago and other 2 kids burned a desk inside the class. A teacher was caught having X with an autistic student. I believe the student claimed to have loved her. Her dad was also a teacher at the same school and he left after the incident came out. Edit. Teacher was female. Student was male. Not sure if illegal, but a girl smeared her own hits all over the bathroom walls and mirrors. Could this count as vandalism? Pre-internet days kinda. CDs were a thing. I had a massive CD collection in a gigantic book in my locker. I typed up lists of all the artists and albums I owned. So I had these flyers everywhere, and for $3 a CD would burn you a copy. This was right when CD burners came out and my stepdad was super into the latest and greatest tech, so we had the cool gadgets when they came out. I eventually was caught, but for a time I made killer money. My senior year, one of my friends was murdered by her boyfriend and he drove around with her body in the trunk for a couple of hours. Also, a couple of kids got caught giving each other piercings in the stairwells. 6 or so years ago, before jewels were even a concept, a buddy of mine would buy disposable e-cigarettes online in bulk, then sell them to the other students at a huge profit margin. He did this all the way through graduation and never got caught somehow. Dude had to have made at least $10,000 over time doing that. He was the plug and sold those things like there was no tomorrow. There was also the geometry teacher who got caught sending duck pics to freshmen. I have absolutely no idea how, but he somehow managed to keep his job. Best comment of the day. Backstory. My senior class's idea of a senior prank was to bring our pets to school the day we come back after graduation. In our case, we graduated May 8th, had the 9th off. If we went to Project Grad, which is basically a party to celebrate graduating. It was at Incredible Pizza. We got card with only $10 on them and nobody was able to add more money to the cards or even get new ones. But the really cool stuff was free to do, so it was worth it. Anyway, we get the 9th off if we did Project Grad and come back the 10th, the day we were supposed to bring our pets. Well, that didn't happen. BC, the superintendent's son, was also a senior and had told her, honestly, lamest senior prank I've ever heard of, especially when one of the students spray painted a giant orange dick in the grass during winter break for haram back in 10th grade. Also, the principal had to use a motor scooter to get around. I don't know for sure why, because I remember her being able to walk 11th grade, but 12th grade she had the scooter. Anyway, the new prank was to take the wheels off of her scooter. Thank God nobody actually did it.